In the morning, outside my window, everything seemed serene and peaceful. Squirrels played mischievously, happily chasing each other around a tree. Ducks swam calmly, occasionally breaking the tranquility with sudden bursts of splashing as they flapped their wings over the water. Birds strolled along the banks of the pond, fetching breakfast or gliding gracefully, their reflections mirrored on the water's surface. There was an air of tranquility, a place where worry and fear could not exist. One afternoon, when the sun was at its highest peak and the mud around the lake became hot grounds for sunbathing, Mr. Alligator emerged from the deep waters, causing panic and fear among the residents of the area. The sandhill cranes looked confused. The egret paced back and forth with an obvious look of worry and uncertainty. The once playful squirrels were no longer in sight, and the rabbits ran to hide in their burrows. Whispers of concern filled the air around the lake, as Mr. Alligator had never been seen in the area before. In response to the commotion, Mr. Duck, the mayor of the area, called an urgent meeting among the members of his Senate.
My fellow friends,
Mr. Duck said,
we find ourselves confronting a great challenge. The presence of Mr. Alligator has disrupted the peace and safety of our community.
Together, they thought and discussed many different ideas on what to do. Amidst the numerous suggestions, a calm voice emerged. It was the old and wise Mr. Gray Heron.
Maybe,
he said,
we should consider Mr. Alligator's needs and preferences, or take the time to get to know him.
Mr. Duck and all the members of the Senate agreed to Mr. Gray Heron's clever advice. With that, Mr. Duck set out to meet Mr. Alligator. Meanwhile, Mr. Alligator lay relaxed, trying to rest from his long journey. He kept to himself, not because he did not want to mingle with the other residents, but because being reserved was in his nature. As Mr. Duck approached, he cleared his throat and said,
Hello, Mr. Alligator. On behalf of our community, I have come to welcome you. However, I must confess that your presence has caused disruption to our peace and instilled fear in our home.
Mr. Alligator listened quietly, seeming a little tired from his trip as he yawned and slightly closed his eyes. Then he said,
Thank you, Mr. Duck, for welcoming me to your community. But don't worry, there's no need to be afraid. You see, I'm here to be the sheriff and engineer of this place. I'll use my strong body and swimming skills to protect the waters, and with my engineering abilities, I'll also make holes and paths to help everyone who lives here.
Mr. Duck felt much better after hearing what Mr. Alligator had to say. He said goodbye to Mr. Alligator, feeling happy and reassured about the new addition to their community.
Mr. Gray Heron's wisdom has proven invaluable,
Mr. Duck announced to the residents of the area.
Change is a constant part of life, and new arrivals bring with them a wealth of diverse perspectives, fresh ideas, and unique experiences that can only serve to strengthen our community. Mr. Alligator's presence is a perfect example of this. While his arrival may have initially caused concern, we now see that he brings valuable skills and a commitment to contributing positively to our home.
Mr. Duck's words resonated with the residents, causing them to reflect on their own abilities and how their differences contributed to the communities. The squirrel's playful nature brought joy and laughter. The duck's graceful swimming created a sense of tranquility, and the bird's melodies filled the air with beauty. The rabbits maintained open spaces for all to enjoy, while Mr. Gray Heron's wisdom guided them through challenges. The sandhill crane's unique dance displays added a touch of wonder, and the egret's patience while fishing taught the value of perseverance. The next morning, Mr. Alligator greeted everyone on his path and, with an air of pride and authority, left the banks to dive into the water. He had a lot of work to do as the sheriff and engineer of the area. Everyone felt at ease knowing more about Mr. Alligator. Once again, squirrels played their chasing game, while ducks, birds, rabbits, Mr. Gray Heron, and sandhill cranes were all around, enjoying the new day.